let's focus on the world of HR. When it comes to HR systems, we are absolutely spoilt for choice. The decision process on buying is generally for organisations around outcomes, reporting, metrics, measuring KPIs, and driving a process. Think about performance. Think about recruitment. There's a process that we wish to deliver. Of the absolute plethora of systems available on the marketplace, arguably they all do this in various ways and all have differences, strengths, and weaknesses. So, why is Gemini different? And could you be a Gemini business? Gemini's offering is a full people management lifecycle solution. We look to assist you from any of the starting areas within the HR process. Mature organisations will focus on strengthening development of their people and looking at leadership across the system for the organisation and encouraging and supporting leaders and those of value to step into more challenging and complex roles. So, are you an organisation that cares about your people, wish to identify your most talented people, desire to develop them, placing them where they're most needed to perform the outcomes of your organisation? And do you wish to measure and make sure that the people are not only doing what's asked of them, but are doing what they would like to do in order to help you as an organisation be successful? If you're the latter, then, or if you are simply just driving a process and wanting reports out, then possibly Gemini may not suit your requirements. So why is Gemini not for everyone? Right at the beginning of moving on to the Gemini life cycle, we work with you in a very, very different way. Gone are the days where we come in and we scope and we work simply with a subject matter expert to understand what you're delivering. With Gemini, we approach the initial conversations on a user outcomes basis, and including the subject matter experts as well as the end user. So the adoption of Gemini starts right at that discovery and advisory stage. So again, we ask the question, are you enforcing a process or are you engaging with your people? So why is discovery and advisory so different? And what makes it a different journey for a Gemini customer? And why do some people really love the process and some people decide it's not for them? With discovery and advisory, we identify the high impact areas. We do experience mapping, we do discovery workshops, we do contextual interviews, and we're really framing that HR process within your business. We do collaborative reviews. So think about recruitment. Yes, there's a subject matter expert in your organisation who manages the recruitment process. For a collaborative review and through our DNA process, we will certainly work with that person to understand the strategic objectives. What we also want to know is, what is the candidate experience? What is it like for the new person coming on into the company? What do they have to provide you? How do they provide it? What are the lead times in getting information? What are the other touch points of the recruitment process? Where does IT get involved? How does finance interact? Where is the hiring manager in the HR process for recruitment? By having these reviews and then having collaborative reviews or contextual interviews and having a user or a candidate or a new employee with the subject matter expert, with the HR director, with the CFO, and finding out the gaps in the link, we get a really good insight into not only framing the process for the organisation, but also the cultural journey of the organisation. So the engagement is with everyone along the recruitment cycle. Then from the advisory perspective, this is the deliverable. This is the insight session into your company, the tactical fixes and the strategic direction of the deliverables. We provide experience maps, a very, very visual aid in understanding what your current processes were and what the new and improved Gemini process will be, with action plans, with a future state map, with personas on how they will actually use Gemini and adopt it through your business. So how do I know if I'm a Gemini customer? Well, do you look to engage your people and truly understand their motivations and their desires? It's a little bit more than just risk and compliance. Or do you distribute out an HR process for everyone to complete and then report back on those measurements? And arguably, you may do a mix of both. So, you care about how your employees have engaged with you and your HR solutions. Have you had an HR solution implemented that has resulted in low or no uptake by the very end users that you're actually needing to have that HR engagement with? Are your solutions enabling your employees to work with a technology that is a familiar feel, that is an intuitive interface, that is a framework that they can easily adapt into their business lives? Are you concerned that your current HR technology is potentially lacking that user experience and is very tab, form, field, or possibly even spreadsheet driven and has an older web look and feel? When it comes to keeping our people, which is a valuable asset in our organisation, how do we attract and retain a generation of users that are now expecting to have information at their fingertips, who are self-motivated to control their own destiny and their data? Then that potentially, if you're thinking of all those things, may be why you would look at Gemini. So potentially, yes, you are a Gemini customer. Having a look at some of those customers that are already on that journey with us, they do actually all have something in common. And what is that? They all care about the engagement of their employees and the satisfaction of their employees through the HR process, and are working in a very collaborative way. They also wish for their users to have an exceptional user experience. You'll notice that I've got new customer 1 and new customer 2 on the slide, with 2 new customers potentially coming on board this month to experience the Gemini way. So, Gemini and you. What is Gemini? Gemini is made up of 9 core principles, and those principles are key to every view that you have in Gemini and every user interaction within Gemini. Security is a given. We're dealing with very sensitive data. And then it's the action. So down the bottom in the purple circles, whether it's pay or people or business logic and their frameworks. Up on the left-hand side, how we actually deal with the data within Gemini. We take it beyond just a report that we want to generate. Any system can do that. With Gemini, our reporting framework, our parameters are all underpinned by machine learning and AI, providing some up-to-the-minute, up-to-the-date technology analytics. And then, of course, that user experience. How do we move between areas of our HR system? How does it interact as we move from one area to the other? And how does the animation look and feel? And how enjoyable is it in terms of using the Jemini solution? Those 9 core principles are in every view that Jemini has. This is then underpinned by 4 product constructs. So every view within Jemini has a navigation, how we move along the system, an insight. So every screen I look at in Jemini will provide me some valuable information. A task, which is the doing, and the table, which is the data. Those product principles and the constructs, along with the personas that we build during the discovery and advisory, then assist you with the adoption strategy of Jemini in your business. So Jemini becomes not just a solution to fill a gap and do a process. It becomes a solution that helps you work through with your employees in providing all the HR data and metrics and management and influence that you will need to help your employees along your company's journey. So combined with the constructs, the user-led design, the engagement that we have, we then provide through DNA your personas to show you how you will in fact use Jemini within your own business. Every business being slightly different in how they actually might have their HR processes guide them along the way. And how does Jemini look and feel? That looks very familiar, doesn't it? We have a view which is touch screen, which is a flick on, flick off, which can be on a tablet, a laptop, a lovely big screen in your office, a tabletop, or a mobile device. And it is familiar. We know how to use these features in our everyday lives. It is something truly inspiring. Through the AI, Jemini then becomes your business partner. Rather than simply, I need to generate a report, I need to find out a component of. Jemini then becomes intelligent enough in your business to assist you with guidance, in this instance, predicting or providing a REM prediction for an employee. Pretty confronting maybe, having a piece of software become your HR advisor and give you guidance on what you could potentially do. From a candidate experience, from the initial point of interaction from applying for a role, Jemini provides the ability for organisations to capture basic data and have online providing of employment agreements, letter of offers, or pre-employment checks. This then, in turn, would create a talent pool for those that don't go through the recruitment process. However, from an employment perspective, you're able to then look back and see who applied that I didn't employ, and even potentially who actually enjoyed the employment process through the wellbeing framework that we have within Jemini. And then as people evolve through the organisation, you're then able to look at who my top performers are, how we develop those people, how we can actually get the best out of those people, and how those people can maintain their motivation and working alongside us within the business. And yes, we always want the metrics. So thinking about something like work-life balance insights. We hear a lot about well-being in the marketplace and and even in our political environment. So how can that transpire into our HR solution, and how can that guide us to do a better job of managing our people? This could easily be a simple leave view in terms of showing us our leave metrics across the organisation. Headcount, sick leave, percentage of people taking sick leave, turnover, or people leaving. Those are the views and insights that can be delivered through the Gemini framework. It gives us some predictability in what can be an otherwise unpredictable environment in our businesses. If we think about remuneration, it's not just about knowing what people are on. So how do we ensure that people are remunerated in a way consistent to their performance across the business, and potentially where we can manage performance, and how we can fairly allocate across a budget centre for remuneration reviews. And then bringing it back to how we like to think about how our people are within a company. How are you today? How are you feeling today? Are you busy and don't want to be interrupted today? What is my team doing across the business? When is that performance due? And when am I next scheduled to meet with my employees to talk about their aspirations and performance through the business? So Gemini offers a complete employee lifecycle experience, a wonderful user experience, and some key insights into the business, and arguably something that's very, very simple to use and very engaging to use. It is about engagement and it is about interaction. And for those techie people out there, how do we deliver it? It's software as a service. So no infrastructure required. Yes, you can still draw data out to do your reports through the Microsoft SQL database, and it's developed in a very modern language in terms of HTML, TL5, JavaScript, and cascading style sheets. If you're a Gemini customer, we'd love to share more and love to work with you through our DNA process, discovery and advisory.